Guys,
Hello, beautiful people of Stockholm! Oh, he's actually right. You can laugh at political jokes here because the KGB agent that they gave us got poisoned in Finland. He's now at home. We're really worried for the guy. But we're good here. My name is Ellie Weinstein. I'm very pleased to be here. I've been living in Russia, in St. Petersburg, for 2 years now, and it's very nice being in a civilized country. It's so pretty, so beautiful. Actually, Stockholm already hurt me. It was so pretty. I was looking around so much. I stepped into a street pole, hit my head in southern regions, two things I work with, and no, honestly, I'm a comedian living with a boyfriend. I have to earn my keep somehow. Hope it goes away by the end of the tour. Also, you just have so much beauty here. Like, have you seen Swedish women? They're gorgeous. Do you even realize how gorgeous they are? I see some girls just nodding like, yes, yes, I own a mirror. I saw. Also, I mean, I don't own enough makeup to measure up. I have to paint myself like a raccoon just to get out in the street. You are so beautiful. Also, kind of a little similar, because I look at Swedish women and they're like all of them. Tall, blonde, beautiful. Tall, blonde, beautiful. Tall, blonde, beautiful. Tall, blonde. It's like IKEA has started making females. Maybe it's a program in here, I'm not sure. You also have so many cool things around here, like free choice and speech and beautiful cities and history and gays. They never show up in Russia for shows for some reason. I'm not sure. Any gays in the house? No? Okay. That's tension. I told you, the KGB agent is fine. It's okay. No, honestly, I thought they went extinct while I was in Russia. That was ridiculous. Also, I am, I was very nervous coming down here. Jew in a cellar. Never mind. I was very nervous coming down here because, such a pretty city, you probably have such high standards for women and, in general. And I specifically picked this dress for you. To look nice. Yeah, thank you. To, maybe at some points distract you, maybe show you a little boob. And now some of you think that some of my jokes may flop, and some of you are still looking for that boob that I mentioned. It's okay, we're on the same page. I've been looking for them for 30 years now. But I have a misfortune. Most girls get their boobs from their moms. I got mine from my dad. And how I know this is at 12, where most women get their boobs, I cut mine with a mustache. I was very unfortunate. But also, educational moment, this is how you can find a Jewish woman in a crowd. Big nose, no boobs, an opinion. That's how you see us. You got a lot of Jews around here? Not anymore. Probably. I am very Jewish, very Jewish. My surname is Weinstein. You may have heard that before. Yeah, Harvey Weinstein, sex scandal. Harvey Weinstein fucked me up so bad. Not literally. Just to clarify, at the time of a sex scandal, I was also a video producer. So I had to cast a lot of women, and the disappointment of Russian women who did not get their big part, big break in Hollywood, even after they slept with me. It's just so much disappointment, so much sourness brought into my life by Harvey Weinstein. And if you don't know who Jews are, let me introduce you to them a little bit. Judaism is the one religion you can still joke about. Because what they're going to do to you, argue. It's, also from very popular Jews, like Woody Allen, Einstein, Jesus, you kind of know that Jews are like moderately looking, smart men, and their mothers think they're sons of God. That's very hard on Jewish girls, because we are future mothers of sons of God. We had a third place in our own life. Very hard. I think this is why I have a very low self-esteem, you know. It comes from my family, because my dad actually, he came to see me in St. Petersburg 2 weeks ago. He comes into my house and I hear from the door, "Where's my pretty girl?" And I turn to him and he's hugging a dog. I was like, a whole new trauma. You know who's also a big fan of my dog? My mom. Sometimes she sits in front of her and goes, "You are the only grandchild that I'm getting, right?" I'm just waiting for the moment the dog starts answering, because it just happens too much. My mom is a specific breed of woman. She's incredible. I fled my household when I was 17. I went to live in Prague. And 2 months ago, my mom moved into St. Petersburg. And now, first time in 15 years, we're living in the same city, which makes perfect sense. Nowadays and age, they deliver everything. They deliver pizza to your doorstep, groceries, Wi-Fi, and now they deliver Jewish guilt. And I have a lot to be guilty about, because I'm a very bad Jew. I have to tell you, I'm a very bad Jew. I'm a very bad Jew, like, for example, Jews are not allowed to eat shellfish. That's why a Jewish boy never goes down on you. Truth. I know it's called a pussy, still smells like fish. It's, you know, lousy time, lousy late. Also, I'm a bad Jew because I'm tattooed. And if you are tattooed, you're not allowed to be buried at the same cemetery as your non-tattooed family. I'm trying to escape them, you know. I'm taking all the chances. But it kind of fell through, because I came home, I showed off my first tattoo, and then a week after, my dad got one. He's chasing me in the afterlife. And my dad, otherwise, he's the good one. He's a good Jew, good Jewish boy. He lived with his mom until he was 56. Jesus, with his 33, got nothing on my dad. He's really good. Also never had an opinion in his life. Beautiful. The opinions were my mom's, because my mom is also a great Jew. She's a psychiatrist. She is a little, how can you call this? Professionally damaged. If I lay dead, she would come over my dead body and go, "Are you sure this is not psychosomatic? I feel like you're avoiding something in your life." It's very tense in my household. And I used to be a very angsty teenager. And at some point, like living in Prague, I figured out how I'm gonna stick it to my parents. I found the revenge. I was about 17 and applying to universities and colleges, and I was in Prague and I was quite drunk. And one thing you need to know about me, when I'm drunk, I'm very dedicated. And this beautiful idea pops into my head. I'm gonna enroll myself into a Christian college. Now, when I'm drunk, I'm very dedicated. So after the party, I go home, I take my documents, and I go to the Christian college. I stand in front of a Christian college, and in front of it, everywhere in the city, there are like brown, black, gray pigeons, but in front of a Christian college, there are only white doves. And in my drunken state, I think to myself, God has amazing PR people. And I got a little shy, because I was after the party in a little tube dress and the coat over. So I think, how can I make myself more modest? So I put the tube dress down to my knees. I'm basically naked under the coat, but at least I'm covering my knees. And I'm coming in, and on the documents, there's this old post-Soviet lady, and I'm giving her my documents. She's checking it. She's like, "Okay, you're only missing one paper. It's a note from your priest. You can give one from your priest or use one of ours." I'm like, my synagogue would be fucking amused. I want to stick it to my parents, not the God. And I say, I'll use one of yours. She says, "Please, sit over there. He will take you in." And I'm sitting there in a corridor, half naked, under the coat. There are a flock of priests coming through, having coffee, calling each other jokingly inquisitors. That's the kind of vibe. And the priest that talked to me, he was absolutely lovely. He was really nice. We talked a little bit. I did not know I knew the words that I used. He was absolutely lovely, and he decided to give me that note. He sat down at this very, very old computer, and he printed the little note, he gives it to me, and he goes, please bring it to the lady in front of the house. And I take that note, and I step outside, and then I look at the note that literally says, I, high priest, whatever, have not found in Miss Ellie Weinstein any devil. In all fairness, he did not look everywhere, but it's because I'm not an 8-year-old child. And so, and I figured I can never give away this note, because there are so many people I need to show it to. I have a proven point. That was a brilliant story, and I have to, okay, I give my parents, and I gave my parents, and I give my parents a lot of shit. A lot of it. But I have to be now smarter, older, I have to understand them. Any parents in the house? It's a hard job, right? Any parents?
Yeah.
Yeah! So, it's what, Tuesday night? What did you do to a kid?
It's taken care of, don't worry.
It's okay. It's taken, mama? Nanny?
Yeah, that's right.
Mama nanny. So she gets money from me for babysitting. Is she Jewish? So okay, you need to understand my parents, and I need to understand my parents, because I myself am also a parent of a beautiful husky dog. Yeah. And I've just found out something about her that's always hard news for any parent. I just found out that my beautiful pup is transgender. Basically what happened was she got her first heat, and then she was walking around trying to fuck absolutely everything without having a dick. She's a boy dog in a bitch body. Only bitch body in my house. Never mind. And she was doing that. She was trying to fuck absolutely everything without having a dick, much like Margaret Thatcher. Because I like to think that my dog aspires to great figures of transgender women in history. And if you don't think that Margaret Thatcher was transgender, her mustache says otherwise. And I need to develop this understanding for her and, you know, in general, because my first education actually is psychology. Somebody, oh, she escaped, that's fine. She knew where this was coming to. I was pressured into getting an education. And I feel like educations are like marriages. The first one you get pressured into by your parents, and the second one you get for love of money. And I got mine in psychology, or in words of my mother, not a real doctor, which is a little offensive, because to be a psychologist you need to be pretty smart, and I am really smart, but I feel like high IQ is like a big dick. It's good that you have one, just stop showing it off to everybody. It's just rude. And going about my life, being a psychologist, I see a lot of misconceptions people have about how human brain and psyche works, and there are a lot of like sort of ideas that are completely wrong. Like recently I've heard this, men find women with red lipsticks or bright lipsticks sexually attractive because this lips remind them of this lips. Ladies, if your vaginas look anything like this, you might have a teensy bit of a problem. A little overworked. Okay, this is a common one, you've probably heard this. We only use 10 to 15% of our brain. Have you heard that one? Yeah, obviously. That was a little hard because the person who told this to me probably was using 10% of his brain. So it was hard to argue, but here's an actual thing. There is this thing called neuroplasticity. it's an educational show now. Neuroplasticity. That means that if you lose half of your brain, the other half would learn to do things that this half did. Basically, with a half of your brain, you're gonna survive. Gonna take a mortgage, student loan, but survive. You're gonna live. So absolutely not true. Also, this misconception was about makeup as well. That women would paint our eyes and do the mascara because we want big eyes, because big, beautiful, beady eyes make men want to protect us. Didn't work for Anne Frank, did it? It's not even the first Nazi joke I did today. Oh, brilliant. A lot of misconceptions around there. And I think the most sad in my family about me not being a real doctor, there was my beautiful grandmother. I love my grandmother. My grandmother really wanted me to be a doctor. Be this very, very nice professional lady in a white coat, like in on her favorite TV show, Grey's Anatomy. Anybody saw that gem? She's been talking about it for ages, 16 fucking seasons. And I watched first couple, I called her up, I'm like, how can you watch this? You are an intelligent woman. All they do on that TV show is fuck and die. And my grandmother went, just like real life. First of all, I don't know something about my grandmother. Second of all, then she died. And this is how you prove a point as a Jewish woman. She's just going to the end. But yeah, she was very sad. She was also very sad about me telling this joke before she died, obviously. I'm not talking to spirits. She was very sad about this joke. She called me up. She's like, somebody translated this to me. Why are you saying this is absolute lie? I'm like, no, it's not. We did have this conversation. Like, but they don't have to know about this. Grandma, I'm a comedian. I tell stories. She's like, should become a doctor. She's very on point woman, who used to be. She was also very sad that I'm not dating anybody, but one thing she used to tell me, to never bring home a Jewish boy. She was a marvelous lady, 6th generation, pure Jew, coincidentally, the most anti-Semitic person I've ever met. All the mirrors in her house were wet because she saw the Jew, she spit, it was a reflex. And I was single for about 2 years, and then I went to Russia. I was single, and then I found myself a boyfriend from South Africa. And I called my grandmother, and I'm talking about him, and I'm like, okay, tell me about him. I'm like, okay, he's very artistic. He's in arts. He's a director. He's really good with money. He really loves his mom. And my grandmother goes silent, and she goes, did you go to another continent to find yourself a Jew? Pretty much. I quite did, because otherwise dating in Russia would not work out. I cannot date in Russia. Is it hard dating in here? I mean, not mixing up your girlfriend with her sister, but in general. Is it hard dating? You're prepping for Valentine's Day, that horrible holiday?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is hard. Why? What's the hardest thing? Oh, pretty sure I've heard this. Any hard things about dating with you couple?
Sweeties.
Sweeties? What? You either pronouncing Swedish wrong, or there's some other point in that. I gotta tell you, dating in Russia is horrific. You get a lot of Russian girls apart from this one. Sorry, this is your boyfriend?
Yes.
Where he's from?
This way.
Fair enough. Because you can never date in Russia. I'm, as any normal person of my age, am on Tinder. Anybody on Tinder? Yeah. And you're still on it. Darling, I gotta tell you, you're not the best case scenario. Marvelous. I'm on Tinder, and in Russia, men of my age were growing up in the 90s. In the 90s, when Soviet Union fell apart, it was very gangster time. They all want to be dangerous. They want to be gangsta, want to be brat. If there are any Russians, it's for you reference. On their Tinder profiles, they're never smiling. and they're like they try to intimidate you into dating them. You're not ugly. Wanna have dinner? You cook. It's just hard, you know? Because Russian women, and the Russian women know it's hard. How long have you been here? Once again? 3-4 years. She escaped, you know? And Russian women know that they are scary, so they try to make this face like they're not. They're like, I'm not scary, I'm sexy. Try to deceive you. I think dating in any other country is much easier. Like in Germany, I think you reach 30s in Germany, you just, government gives you a husband. It's, it's the only reason, I feel like, it's the only reason Angela Merkel is married. Because, you know, I'd be intimidated to get to that power pussy. It's just scary. They just gave her a husband. Also, you know, very easy to date. You know as who? As a French guy. It is very easy to you. Some of you got wet already, didn't you? I know. Because it is very easy to date as a French guy. Because French dick is not a dick. It's poetry. Even fucking feminists love poetry. It's just ridiculous how much easier. Even in Africa, it's fucking easier. You bang it over the head, you take it home. Now, I'm not saying that this is how I got my boyfriend, but don't unchain him. I hope he's surviving this tour. I've been away from him for a long while, and you know, less sex you have, your hormones go all over the place, and like less sex you have, you get fatter, you get pimples, you get crazy. It's like less sex you have, less fuckable you become. Basically, it's the nature's way of saying, other humans have rated that person 1 star. Are you sure you would like to purchase? Yes, because in Russia we purchase women. It's a whole thing. And Russian women really, really try. They really, really try to be fuckable, you know. And they do this Botox, and they do this lips and hair and everything. And one thing absolutely everybody has money for is a diet. They go on diet. And the dieting is the whole thing. We call it famine, they call it prepping the summer. It's, they follow it religiously. And I have this one friend, I always forget, what's the nice name for an anorexic? Ballerina. And we went for lunch, and I'm sitting there having my burger, and she's sitting over the table having her water, and she's complaining. She's single, and she's complaining so much. Like, I never can find anybody. I can never find anybody. It feels like they look right through me, like they never see me. And I think to myself, there's a joke in there. But you have to be really proud of me, because when she says that, I feel like men look right through me. I didn't go, where the voice is coming from. I was very enticed. I really, really wanted to do that. Also, I could never diet. I could never go on a diet, because I thought about it once, and then I measured myself. And it turns out that my ass is 100 centimeters. I have a 1 meter ass. And I figured out I cannot give it up. Because if I'll fail as a comedian, I'll become a cheap prostitute, move to Stockholm, and my slogan would be, the only meter in Stockholm you can afford. Now, I'm running a lot of jokes by boyfriend, and I ran this one by him, and it's very hard to leave with a comedian. It's just hard on you. So he's looking, I'm running it by him, and he's looking at me with this tired face. He's like, sometime your way of thinking, I just think you're fucking possessed. And I say, actually, I have a paper that says exactly otherwise. Thank you very much, Stockholm.
Drink refill, go to the toilet, go for a smoke, you know. Please do it in the next 10-15 minutes and we will continue with another half of hilarious comedy. Does that sound right to you? Yeah? Thank you. See you soon.